Hello, I'm Pastor Joe, and I want to welcome you to Impacts. Impacts is a video teaching series where I try to help nurture your faith in, your commitment to, and your relationship with Jesus Christ. This past weekend, we celebrated Thanksgiving, and now that Thanksgiving is over, we are in that last stretch as we head towards Christmas. Now, while we've had Christmas decorations out for a while, it seems, you're starting to see more buildings decorated, more stores, and churches are starting to get decorated. But it's important that we remember it's not quite Christmas. You see, particularly in the Reformed tradition, and a lot of churches will do this as well, we don't celebrate Christmas until Christmas. But the time between basically Thanksgiving and Christmas is a season called Advent. So what is Advent? Why is Advent important? What is its significance? Well, that's what I want us to talk about over the next several weeks. So come on, let's get started. You know, Advent, the word Advent comes from the Latin word Adventus, and it means coming. The season of Advent are the 4 weeks before Christmas. It can be as early as November 27th. It can be as late as December 3rd. And those 4 Sundays of Advent each have a different focus or a different meaning. And over the next several weeks, that's what we're going to explore. So today I want us to think about why we celebrate Advent. What is the meaning of it? So during the season of Advent, we need to think on the meaning of the word coming. There's various ways we can look at it. There's really kind of 3 ways that are good for us to think on. The first, and this is the most common, is to reflect on the meaning of Jesus coming, His historic birth, His birth in that manger, the proclamation of good news of great joy for all the world. Who was this baby? Why was He born? Who does this baby grow up to be? What is his significance of life for all of humanity? The second thing that we can think on in terms of the meaning of coming is how Jesus comes into our life. You know, we don't just celebrate the birth of a baby, not even the birth of a Savior. We celebrate the birth of a personal Savior. You see, Jesus knows us. He knows us individually, and He knows us better than we know ourselves. And you know what? Even though He knows everything about us, He still loves us. He is our personal Savior. So during this season of Advent, let's reflect on our own faith, our own commitment, and the significance of how His love for impacts us. The third way that we can think on the meaning is His promised return. You see, we don't only celebrate His birth in a manger. We don't only celebrate His personal relationship with us. We celebrate that it's not over. That God promises that Jesus will return. And so part of what we do in Advent is celebrate that promise. That gives us hope that in the midst of a fallen world that is filled with brokenness and pain, that we have a Savior who is not only with us, He's going to come back physically to this earth. And that we can celebrate. We may not know when, but we can celebrate the promise of God because God is always true to His promises. So my challenge to you during this season of Advent for this week is very simple. I want you to reflect on the coming of Jesus. His historic birth, His personal relationship and presence in your life, and the promised return. Think on those things, reflect on those things, and then reflect on how are you being a witnesses to those? How are you living a life that demonstrates His presence? How are you sharing that presence with others? Well, look, I do want to thank you for joining me this week for this installment of Impacts. I hope that you will join me next week. We're going to start looking at the particular weeks of Advent and the meaning and focus of those. If you haven't already, I encourage you to take some time to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I hope that you'll also share this video with your friends and your family. Well, look, until we get together again, I continue to pray that God's blessings will be with you.